And we are live. So yeah, we are back in Satisfactory. And back in the heavy modular frame factory where we've been for some time. And it's mostly functional at this point, but mostly functional is not fully functional. So we have some last fixes to do. So the first thing is, I believe we don't have enough coal. Let's do the math again to verify. So we have 392.59 coal for that side, and we have another 720 coal for this side, which is over 1,000 coal, and we only have 2 belts of it from the desert. So yeah, we need to go out and get more coal into the train network, which shouldn't be terribly hard. Just see where some of that is. We prefer a spot with a bunch of pure nodes. Not seeing any. Just scrolling around the map. At least look for a spot with a good number of normal nodes or something. Alright, looks like there's a solid batch, to the southwest, sort of close-ish to where I'm getting some limestone, which should be enough. So let's head down there. So off we go. Just barely missed a train, which would have helped. I wonder if we can catch up to the train. Probably unlikely, but we need to rename that to Southwest Limestone to make sure that it's labeled. It looks like slide jumping is just ever so slightly slower than a train. Or maybe we're catching up slightly. Yeah, I think we are catching up. Nope, looks like we're about the same as we were. We'll catch up when it turns into the station, I guess. Man, this would have been so much more convenient if I could have just gotten on the train. Alright, almost there. And we do need to take down that radar tower as well, because it's expensive and uses a bunch of resources we have a finite quantity of. Alright. As the train goes into the station, and we catch up, and you get to be labeled. So train name is Southwest Limestone. Other than that, no need for any other changes, just have that be labeled, and then take down the radar tower. Alright, so the coal is supposedly around in there. So we're going to head back a bit further east. Yeah, I can actually see it from up here. It's convenient. No obnoxious trees in the way, so you can actually see things from a distance. Oh no, now there are trees in the way. I guess they're just loading in. That's funny. Alright, so we get to about here. Maybe a bit further down. Somewhere around this area. And we need to expand this out and put in the rails. Alright, then we have to connect them up. So that goes there, and then across to the other side. Pretty much got a hang of this now. So this goes back there. And across to this side. Alright, then we get that to be a path signal. Get a path signal there. And we make that a path signal. And then we put a block signal there. And no, it's still gonna be that whole loops into itself thing. So fix that just by shifting you back a little bit. And all done. So now we just have to take this a bit north and make sure to set it to auto connect mode so we don't have the incident we had in the desert. And then we just go up this way. Let's see, how far? A couple more still. Hard to tell because the rail obviously obstructs your view of directly below you. Looks like we're right about in the right spot though. So let's set up here. Let's set up here with a nice big platform for our train station. And it's going to need to be wider, of course. And it's going to need to be quite a bit longer. Also, the resource thing isn't showing up. Why is that? Alright. Probably just a visual bug, nothing to worry about. And then the train station goes in. So the train station goes here, but we want to push it back so that that has room to sneak around. So that goes there. That comes across. Then that goes around like that. And boom. Alright, now we just have to put the freight platforms in, facing the other way so that they aren't, you know, obstructed by this train tracks. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. Oh, fell off. And get back up. Easy. Alright, so now we just have to take this along. We managed to get it off-center. Annoying, but fine. Alright, so then we have to get it to start turning. And that's still too sharp. Which means we need to give it even more space. Alright, but if that was too sharp, we need to have it be turning back here. And try that. And then in. Alright, train track successful. And then this is going to be southwest coal. So we have that. We have this. These are all default set to load, right? Good, that's what we want. Alright, so then the next step is going to be to get power out of this. And somehow get it directly down. So we need a platform, which is going to be bigger than that. Because they're very large. The power tower goes in. And can we just reach directly down? Of course not. So what we need is, I guess just start laddering down, and we can do the thing where we put the power tower on the, what's it called? The conveyor lift. But we're obviously going to need a ladder to access up and down, so just get this placed in first. And keep going down. Alright. The ladder is descending. Really, really wish I hadn't built this whole thing so high up. I think it might be necessary to build like a lower train network so that we don't have to do this all the time. Who knows? We might also like create some fancy hypertube blueprints or something that can launch us up and down real quick. But for now, we just build the ladder. And as we ladder down, we will eventually get there. And then we're going to have to do a couple more trips like this to bring the conveyor lift up and the power line up, which hopefully we can manage both of those on the same trip. That would be ideal. We are just about at ground level. Just go through that tree, and here we are. Speaking of that tree, let's explode it so that we can see. Alright, then we bring the ladder the rest of the way down. Alright, now time to find me some coal. Quick ping. Alright, looks like we ended up still a little too far off to the side, but close enough. We're also going to need to craft a bunch of... That's an equipment workshop, isn't it? A bunch of automated miners. So let's get those going. And let's see, a normal node is 300, right? We have 4 of them, so that's 300, 600, 900, 1200 total, which is pretty good. Hopefully this will last us in terms of coal for at least a good amount of time. Alright, that should be enough of those for both this project and then hopefully the next one as well. So we get there. We blow up this rock. And we get this one as well. Then we go over here and we grab these 2. Alright, so those are both in. And I don't have any power shards on me, and I'm going to need a lot. So let's... That's actually super annoying. Because I'm going to need 3, 6... I'm going to need 12 power shards total. And I don't know where I've kept them. So I guess, do I have biomass on me? I do. So I can set up a very silly cursed setup here. So we grab some of that. We have the summer sloops. So we need that. We need a biomass burner. We need to tell you to make something that we can actually make, though. what do we have that we can actually craft with the resources available? Empty canisters, I guess. And throw in a summer sloop. Drag that power across. Power you up. Alright, so you make one of those to lock in the summer sloop. Then we go down to power shards. And we make a bunch of those. Yeah, and we have no others in there. But these blue power slugs will provide us enough, which should be fine. So let's at least start doing these. That's 300. That's 300. Alright, then we power them up and start dragging their belts along. Then we're gonna have to meet up with those two, and we're let's see, we're gonna technically need like 3 belts worth. Right? Alright, so we have all of the power shards. So we can take this all apart now. So we could merge these up so that there are only 3 belts, right? Because 480 times 3 is more than 1200. And that will save us a fair amount of time dragging the belts. Could this random bozo not just be standing there? Man, playing on passive mode, sometimes you want to just, like... They're so much more annoying because they just constantly exist and it's never worth getting rid of them. Alright, so then these come here. Those get charged up. There we go. And now we connect them up to power poles. Then we connect the power lines together. Alright, so now we just bring these forward. So that one, and this one, and then we get these two. Alright, so that is 4 belts. And I guess we're gonna have to do this. Probably here would be most convenient. So we get that. We take one of these. We split it into 3 batches of 100. And then we put those into the others. So you can be the one. Just gotta make you fit into the splitter. And expand this out so that we have space to do it. So you get a merger. And you get a merger. And then this one has to come around and merge in there. And that one has to go up and over. And now we should have 3 belts of 400. Now where is the ladder? Just over here? Yes, there it is. Alright, so let's bring power. Make sure not to forget that. It's quite important. These belts come forwards. And little bit more. Alright, so now we're approximately here. Let's see, where did the ladder go up from? Sort of the back side there. We're gonna have to figure out where these need to go up. I think it's gonna be further over this way. So let's drag these belts on over here. And one more. Alright. This should be probably good enough, at least for an approximation. Figure out exactly where we're going once we're up there. So, how's the factory? Good. We are just finishing up the heavy modular frame factory, which currently means getting some extra coal because I didn't grab enough the first time around. And we need to bring all of this onto the train network. And then we're going to be back at the factory fixing up, you know, whatever belt problems and stuff that there are there, which I think there are probably quite a few of. Wait, if we do that, if we have them facing that way, they're going to get stuck with each other. So these have to go up like that, like that. Yep, there's always something. And we're going to try to find the something and get rid of it, but it's going to be hard. Now, where's that power pole? There it is. Alright. Just keep that coming up with us so that we don't have to come back and grab it later. Alright, now we climb up here. And these can all come out. I'll leave some space between them, but not a huge amount. I also don't want to cut off the ladder here. Alright, so then these keep on going. And I hope I haven't once again underestimated how many encased industrial beams we'll need. Which seems like I might have. Where is that power line? Why can I not see it from here? There we go. Now we just have to drag this up to keep it moving up. So up we go. It can go there. And then we have to climb up here. It'd be a lot easier if I just dragged the lifts down from the top. But we are somewhat committed now. Alright, so then these go up like that. And we keep on going. Does that cause problems? Yes, that causes problems. So this is going to need to go up and face that way, I guess. Alright, so now we can drag these up another batch. And good. Alright. Must not forget about the power. Where's the power? There it is. Grab you and bring you back up. So up we go. I wonder if we can get it all the way to the top of these. No, wire is too long. So you can just go there then. And we'll keep on climbing. I really regret making this train network so high up. It's very much a pain. Alright, up we go. And encased industrial beam supplies are definitely decreasing, but we are making significant progress. So let's bring these up another batch. And we're almost there. We're also almost out of belt material, because of course we are. We have 2-dimensional storages feeding into that, by the way. Which makes it really quite silly that it's constantly this much of a problem. But yeah, this is all of the belts we have for now, so we're going to head back down and do the power lines. So grab, let's see, where it is. I could have sworn that we were right by the power line. It was on one of these. Yeah, there it is. It's so hard to see. Alright, there we go. We grab that and we bring it up. And of course, while we're doing this, we also have encased industrial beams showing up, so we should be able to finish. Good news is that the production of the beams is quite fast. Unlike in my previous factory where it was very slow and we had to constantly wait around for them. Now it's just dimensional storage problems. Alright, so that's as far as up as it'll go, so then we'll bring it another wave up to there. And then we keep on climbing. Alright, so those go up like that, and we bring the power up, and we should be able to rest it on these lifts and then get it the rest of the way up. There we go, and then we can just get it up here and connect that in. Alright, so that's good. We didn't end up needing that power tower platform because we just ended up using small power towers. So now we just have to get those belts into these train stops. And let's see, we have 3 belts and 5 of these. So is there any especially fancy way I want to do this, or do I just want to sort of put them in just sort of generically? So let's see, we have let's just say these are the input sides, right? Yes. So you go into the first 3. And in here we go. Alright. There's some. Oh, and there's already even coal showing up. Although not as much as I would expect. This is supposed to be 400. And this is... how much is this? Logistics. Throughput monitor. Oh no, it's catching up. Yeah, it's around 400. Cool. Just started off slow for whatever reason. Then we take this one. And it is going to go into these couple. Not super sure how exactly this whole dividing them up thing is going to work. But that one will go into those two. And then this last one can just go into the last one. And at some point we're going to need to set up some sort of splitting system for this to ensure that weird things don't happen with some trains getting lots of coal and other trains not getting any. But for now this should be fine. And it's filling up properly. So now we just put a train in and call it a day. So transport electric locomotive, and it gets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 freight cars. So we go here, label this Southwest Coal, and we tell it to go there and to the coal hub, and turn on self-driving, and off it goes. Alright, so that should be another problem solved. Should be approaching the point where we have plenty of coal. Alright, now we are just gonna respawn back at the hub, and I'm pretty sure there's gotta be a constructor with summer sloops and power shards around here. There's no way I used all those power shards that I had like a while ago. And yet I don't see it. I do not see it. Oh well. We're gonna have to go looking for more... Oh. I have to go looking for more slugs then. Dang, I got clipped by that train. Alright, so now we head over to this, and we're just gonna need to start investigating over here. There are all sorts of problems, some of which probably have to do with the coal not being enough, but also I think there are other problems even before that. So here we are, gigantic heavy modular frame factory that makes 20 a minute in theory. In practice, it's probably not running at 100% right now. So I think I'd seen yellow lights over here, right? Yeah, so this is 30-something% because of a lack of water. Which is weird, because you would think that I had enough water already. Now this pipe is the main pipe providing water to that whole side of the factory. And the flow rate is unstable. Now we have this fluid buffer, which is full. That doesn't mean all that much, because this is only feeding part of it. Let's see here. Maybe this valve is the problem, because I wanted to not have stuff flow from this side into this side, but it might be that this side is getting priority over that one. I'm trying to do both. So if we just take that valve out, then hopefully water from here will flow over this way and make up for that. I don't know, the fluid stuff in this game is something of a mystery to me. I think I might just rework this whole water system entirely to make it more simple. Also, let's grab another stack of fuel, because we were starting to run low. So yeah, we have all of this nonsense with all of these pipes. Now, how to simplify this? Because I'm pretty sure I did the math right, and we do have enough water production. Like, I'm pretty sure I sent up 2 whole pipes for this when we needed like a pipe and a half. I don't know, maybe that fixed it. Actually, I see a lot of water in these pipes, except not these last couple. It's a bit of a dramatic change. Actually, it looks like these are filling. Alright, so that is probably good, assuming that these aren't filling at the expense of something else elsewhere in the factory, which is very hard to tell, of course. Let's just pop over here and see how these are going. Head all the way over to the edge here, and they look fine. Alright, well, hopefully that's okay. Is this still filled? Yes, it is. Alright, that is good news. It looks like it might not be completely filled. It's hard to tell, because it is obviously just going to fluctuate naturally to some extent. Alright, we're going to optimistically say that the water problem was solved by removing that valve. Limestone is looking fine. Coal is looking surprisingly fine. But probably the water problem was slowing down coal consumption. Alright, then we have all of these, which look good, but the pipes, it seems like whatever influx of water that there was there has stopped, which is a bit concerning. Water. Why can't water just be simple? Because if there is like a major water shortage across the entire factory, that's just kind of going to be a huge pain. I guess the solution to that is to just add more water. Would probably work. Is this decreasing? Maybe ever so slightly. Maybe a little bit. Well, hopefully it's not actually a problem. We're going to have to return to it later to see if it is. For now, we do have some other problems that we're going to need to fix, like... What are all these belts? Oh, those are the coal belts, right? They're like that. The train must have just come by. Fortunately, we have these buffers to account for that. Yeah, whenever a train comes by, these belts stop getting input, which is why we have these nice convenient buffers to make sure that they get stable input. Alright, so then after that, we have all of these fully saturated belts, which make it difficult to tell if anything is going wrong, because the machines won't break until much later. So let's grab all of the concrete out of these machines. so that they're only outputting concrete as they produce it. Alright, there we go. Then we have to go to the machines that consume these concrete and empty them out and see what happens. So we go over here, and I definitely see yellow, probably left over from the lack of water. So these guys don't need concrete. They don't need massive stockpiles of it. Looks much better if they only have what they need. Alright. A couple more of these, and I'm going to have to empty this concrete out of my inventory. What is it? That, to get rid of it all at once. And then we should just get rid of all of this as we grab it. And, alright, that is that. So now this should even out. We have plenty of space for the concrete to go to, and we have no more concrete production they were using. Oh, we have this second line as well, though. We're going to need to deal with. So we just have to empty out all these machines because the load balancing should make it so that this isn't a problem. So all of those get emptied. And they should just fill right back up from belts. And a couple more. Alright, just a couple more. And we're still short on steel pipes, which is concerning. Makes me think that it's possible that the water shortage hasn't actually been resolved. I'm going to head back over there and look at it. It's been at least a couple minutes. So now, yeah, now we are short on water again. Okay, so then the question becomes, why? Like, we should not be short on water. Has this, like, emptied or something? No, that is back up to full. The water is definitely getting up there. Did I do pipe math wrong and there's not enough throughput on these pipes? I should recount just to be sure. So this is saying it's... Okay, yeah, it's fluctuating like this, which means that it's not going full speed all the time. Because of course not. Alright, how much water is this anyways? 17.143 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 17.143 times 14 is 240. So this is like half of a pipe of water, which should be very easy for it. Like obviously these are Mark II pipes. Less than a Mark I pipe shouldn't be a concern. And yet somehow with 600 water flowing in, it is having problems. Even this first one, oh, this first one has the opposite issue where there's not enough iron output. That's weird. It's weird for them to be having both sides of the problem at the same time. I guess the front half of this and the back half of this are different, because these are connected up to different outputs. Yeah, okay, so we should clear this out so that that problem doesn't exist. And then if we fly over here, still definitely having water shortages. Alright, so if this is 240, then the other place using a bunch of water is, of course, this one. And this is using a lot more. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 750, but it is connected in from both sides, and it appears to be working, right? Like, all of those show 100%. So that is... So this whole thing is being fed by 2 pipes, which is 1200 max. 750 is going that way, 240 is going that way, for a total of 1000. Which should be fine, but it's obviously not. So I guess we are going to just add a 3rd pipe in. Or maybe if we just like connect this pipe. Actually, let's investigate if these water extractors down here are going full blast. So let's just head down here, check out these water extractors, and this one is extracting at 0%. Why? Because I simply just forgot to connect those 2 up. That might be the problem. Hang on, how many is this? That's 240. That's another one which is 360. And then it just goes up. Okay, well, I've discovered the problem. Fortunately, it's a very easy fix. Don't know how I missed this, but this is why you have to check. So we make that connection, and now this is a full pipe, and yeah, if we were short 240, that might be enough of a shortage to cause problems. Now this one is also not producing. This one's only at 58%. Which, let's see, that's 240, that's 480. This is 600. So this pipe supposedly isn't outputting 600. Yeah. Alright, well, if this isn't outputting 600, then why is that? Yeah, don't mind this one. I didn't end up using it. I just had it placed there for no reason. So hopefully just adding those 2 on will solve the problem. Let's stay around here to see, though, because it's quite possible that they'll just fill up and not keep producing. No, their water is definitely being used. These would have been completely maxed out and full before. So that's a good sign. And hopefully that's enough. Alright. My voice is a little sore all of a sudden. Sorry about that. Well, hopefully that fixed it. Let's climb back up. Oh, I forgot to... I normally drink a glass of water right before stream, and I forgot to do that. Well, let's climb back up, see if that's fixed it. It should, right? Like, we're adding another 240 to this, which is coincidentally as much as that was using. So hopefully that'll be that problem solved. If not, then we're going to have to start thinking about funky fluid shenanigans and all of that stuff, which I really don't want to do. So let's climb up and see if there's now enough water. Alright, up we go. And up a little bit further. Alright, now we're up here. And is it functional? No, it seems like somehow it's worse. Why are these pipes so bad? I mean, they should be just functioning safely, but instead they are definitely not. I wonder if I should try to just let them fill. Alright, so there are two things I can do about that. The first is if I put a fluid buffer in, I don't know if this will help or make it worse. But now we have this. And then we should probably just turn a couple of these off. Probably... Right. Sophie, thank you so much for the follow. So let's turn a couple of these off to let this spin up and hopefully fill properly. Yeah, okay, well that's obviously very suspicious. Nope. Alright. So production is paused. And we're just gonna wait for... Hopefully that fluid buffer will fix something. I don't know what it would do, but it might do something. And the idea is that it'll, like, help even out the weird sloshing by just having a lot of fluid over here. I don't know if that actually works that way, but we're going to try it and see what happens. And I'm going to have to wait for these to all fill up. Turn a couple more of these off, maybe. Make it go even faster. Alright, so these are all going to be deactivated for now. Leave a couple of the first few running, just because we may as well leave this partially active. Alright. Fluid buffer seems to be somewhat stable-ish. I mean, it's decreasing now, which is weird. Now it's filling. Alright, hopefully that's good. Hopefully that means that it's stabilizing out the amount of fluids in the pipes up here. Hopefully that's what that means and it's not making it worse somehow. Yeah, let's turn even a couple more of these off. I really just want this to fill up nice and quick. Probably the ones I should be turning off are the concrete ones that use 100 water each. But that side of the factory is doing just fine, so don't really want to poke it as much. Alright, so then... Yeah, I think we will, though. Let's head over here and turn a couple of these guys off. Alright, so that should add up to a lot of spare water that is not being used anymore. And this is still not filling all the way, although it seems to be getting better now. And then hopefully the idea is that with all of these internally filled and that buffer filled, we should have enough. Why is this one different from the ones on either side of it? Is that... Alright, that whole thing is a pipeline Mark II. They didn't get like a random Mark I tiny section in there. I don't think. Alright, so that is filled up now. And we're just going to wait for the rest of these pipes to fill before starting to turn this back on again. Alright, how is this fluid buffer going? Still fluctuating. I really wish I understood why. It looks like this one is technically on still. Let's put you on standby as well, just so that this whole thing is fully deactivated for now. And yet somehow this is still decreasing in water. Maybe... Alright, maybe just some valves to control flow directions. So if we put a valve there, then water from this buffer won't flow back that way, which might be important. Alright, then we have all of this. So let's see. Now there's literally nothing that this could be outputting to, and yet it is still managing to output somewhere. How? None of these machines are running. Is it just still filling up these pipes, I guess? Is water flowing across the valve? Yes, definitely. So that's good. It should mean that this whole thing should fill up. Oh, fluid mechanics. How much I dislike you. Alright. Is this fluid buffer... This is the thing that's causing the whole magic no need for pumps on those pipes, so I don't really want to mess with it. So I guess we're just going to leave that. This whole pipe system is overly complicated, which is like the worst possible thing for a pipe system. But hopefully... Alright, now the fluid buffer is definitely filling, and it's filling quite quickly. Alright, and then there's the fill rate crash for no apparent reason. I really wish pipes were simple. Why do they have to do this? But even so, it is still filling. Because of course there's nowhere for the water to go. Now, is there anything else? Is there anything else I can do to simplify this? So, let's see. Some of the water... This whole thing still exists. Then we have all of this. So these are the two pipes coming up from down there. And they... Let's see, this one combines up with that pipe to send water over there and up there and over there. Alright, let's try... I took that valve off trying to fix it, and it didn't fix it. So I'm going to put it back on, trying to fix it. And see if it was actually important for some reason. To prevent water from this fluid buffer from flowing over that way, which might cause some problems, maybe. Now that we have those additional extractors, this shouldn't be necessary over there anyways. Alright. By now, that fluid buffer over here should be filled. And it is just about. But weirdly, it looks like some of these pipes might not be. No, these pipes are all filled. Alright, so now that we have all of that, the pipes are filled and nothing crazy is happening. Where is this fluid buffer even outputting to? Ah, well, who knows. Let's try just reactivating all of these now. These can all go back on. And hopefully that fluid buffer will help somehow. Alright. Just put all of those in. All these get to turn back on. And then we'll see if this works. And one more. Alright, so that is all of that. Then we have... Let's give it a second for this to get restabilized, and then we'll go back and turn the concrete ones on. So that's depleted this one a little bit, and it's continuing to deplete it. Quite quickly, actually. Why is that not receiving any filling at all? There should be some water, not literally zero. Alright. Well, hopefully that just does it. I don't know. Water in this game is all weird and magical. Like, I have no idea why it works, why it doesn't work. I think if this if this doesn't fix it, we're just going to have to tear all of this out and rebuild the water pipes. Alright, so these go back on. 1, 2, and 3. And then the rest of these were already on to begin with. Alright. So as theoretically, as long as this doesn't empty, this pipe should be fine. But it's clearly not outputting a steady 240. It is going all the way up to like 500, which is good, I guess. How is the water going all the way over here? Quite poorly. Alright, so then the next thing to try is to loop the end of the pipe, which works sometimes, not always, to fix problems like this. So just bring this over like that. Now we'll see if that works. And this pipe is obviously going to have to fill up, which it did quite quickly. And I mean, this all looks good to me. So now that both sides are connected directly, the risk would be near the center, but it looks fine. Yeah, it looks fine. Alright. Hopefully that has solved it and it's not just a temporary fix. Let's see. This fluid buffer is very low but filling. So that's nice. And there it goes, crashing again. Yeah. This is an incredible nuisance. But hopefully that will have resolved it. And we can go on to trying to fix some other problem for once, other than just scratching our head at fluid dynamics over and over and over again. Alright, so obviously the iron had been turned off for a while and it was just turned back on. So that is going to have to wait a bit. So we're going to have to wait a little bit for this to either stabilize or continue to be broken. In the meantime, there are some known problems over here that I need to fix. And not really problems even so much as just things that aren't good, like this. This is a manifold. I need to get what is that, 20? I'm gonna sneeze. Nope, it went away. Alright, cool. So this, just to confirm, times 3 is 20. Yes. So we have this, which is 20. So fortunately, that should be relatively easy to set up. So we take that out, and we make it just a regular old splitter. Mark 1 belt. Then one side of it goes in there, and then let's see, we're gonna need to get this over, so I guess you just do that. And you just do that. Alright, so then we have that. Alright, so that should be 60, and then 20 there, 40 going back in that way, and 20 going off this way. So that should be solved. Now we can pull this off and have our nice fancy load balanced setup again. Alright, so that was easy. Then, I think there was another similar-ish problem relating to steel. Right, so we have 80 steel going that way, and gosh, I do not remember what all was going on with this. So this steel goes down under here and then comes out this way, 88.888. And we have what looks like a fairly typical load balancing setup. So we have this is 60 and it's going in to, oh right, so this is 60 and it's going into 30 and 30, and then all of those are getting 10 each. So that's 60, which means if this is 88.88 as the number claims, although that's probably how much it's supposed to be, not how much it actually is. It's probably just filling with back pressure. So that's 60, and then this is 9.63 times 3. And let's see, so these ones are all filled. Alright, so if this is 9.63 times 3, 0.63 times 3, 28.89, as my earlier calculations said, which means that in order for this all to work, we need to get this belt to be 88.888, which don't know how to do that. Do not know how to do that. For now, let's clear our inventory of some of that stuff and some of that stuff, because we need to get the junk out of these machines so that they look like they're running properly. And then the last couple actually need the junk in them for now. Yeah, so we're gonna leave those for the moment because they aren't properly set up yet. Then we need to... Okay, I have a better idea. Instead of setting that to be 88 point whatever, we can set that to be the leftover output after everything else. Because this is 80, and that's relatively easy to establish. Because we've already done the speed balancing there. So that is fine. Then we have this. What's going on here? So there's 60 output there. So this is... Okay, so this is 108.8, right? And if that's true, then we have this belt, which comes along here. It's 108.8. Now, coincidentally, the 0.8 part of that is what I'm interested in, because it's the same ending because that's like the spare decimal points for that one over there. I assume all of these are going to be nice and even. Yeah. Alright, so all of these are nice and even, which means that this batch of 108.8, we need to get 20 off of this, send the rest of them down that belt, and then it'll be fine. Alright, so let's do that in this space over here, because it's relatively clear and right by that. So we tear that out. Then we have, let's see here. How do we do this? We have a splitter going along. We need to take out 60, split the 60. Alright, so we have a splitter, which this whole belt is going to need to go into. Then we're going to need this to be a smart splitter. So then the sort of main line can go out this way, I guess. No, we'll set up the side line first. So this is 60. Then it goes in there, and we take 20 out and send it along that way, I guess. We take the other 40 and match it up here with the remains of this, which is going to be another, what, 40-ish as well, 48 point some weird numbers. So we go center any, right overflow, and then we just take this belt out and send it from there. And that should be 88.888 going that way. And then 20 spare is going off that way, which is correct. Alright, then we need to do more with this, because this is the main belt, right? So it's sending all of the rest of the steel along this way? Is that... So first of all, is that what I want? Second of all, is that fast enough? So this immediately needs 80 steel from these, and I have it speed balanced to be correct. It takes another 20 from there, which is fine. That's not going to cause any belt speed problems. And then up here it needs to be 420. So it's just barely exactly enough, right? Because this 420 plus 80 would be 500, but 20 of it is coming from there, which is a separate belt, which means it's 400 from here, plus 20 there is 420. Alright, I think that works. Now let's just confirm that this is 480. So that's 60, 120, 180, 240, 300, 360, 420, 480. Yep. We are good. And now we need to, I guess, just clear these machines out so that they can do the thing properly. So take all the steel out of all of these. All the iron and coal as well. Although that's less important, the coal at least. Alright, so then we grab all of the coal out of those, and just keep running down the line, doing this. So eventually, all these machines will just be relying on whatever goes into them, and then we'll be able to confirm that they're actually working properly. Alright, so then let's clear out the inventory real fast, and done. Alright, so that's that. Next up, we have the iron. Is the iron a problem? This looks like this might not be correct. This last one here is just some weird number. Now for the coal, that's probably just backlog from the train station itself, not really any concern. For the iron ingots though, it is a bit of a problem, I think. Because that's 32.533, which is not really easily balanceable at all. So, if this can't be speed limited properly, we need to speed limit the other way. It works. Also, hang on. Did we set these up correctly? Yeah, okay. This smart splitter is redundant now. And these are all working as expected. Alright, so back over here. So, how much is supposed to be coming out of this belt? Follow it around here, and it is going to be 60 there, another 60 there, so 120, 180, 240, 300, and then it goes around all the way over this way. Oh, and it's going to be some weird number, isn't it? So this is 360 there, and then this loops around here to be 28.88 or whatever. That's a bit of a problem. So we have two awkward numbers that we can't easily speed balance through. So what do we do about that? So we have 9.63 times 3. I've done this before, but it's 28.88. Probably repeating. Probably is supposed to be repeating anyway. So 28.88 repeating there, which is... We managed to work that out on the steel side of things, but on the iron side of things, I don't know how we're going to do that. Which would leave us with speed balancing this to be correct, which is 32.533, which is not exactly any better. Not any better at all. Alright, let's think. Is there any option, or do we just have to leave this as it is? I think we might just basically have to leave this as it is, unfortunately. I would like to fix it, but I'm not seeing a convenient way of doing so. And it's just like one machine, right? That's going to be wrong. And then this goes forwards and is probably just fine. So yeah, I think we just have to accept that this one machine isn't going to be balanced. Unless anyone wants to come up with any clever ideas for load balancing this, which I haven't thought of. It's not going to be easy. The only way of doing it, I guess, would be to rework that entire section. So if I were to go here and instead of doing what I did, so instead of having this like it is, I would have just like a massive splitter array. So instead of speed balancing, just normal load balancing, that would work, but then all of these would be weird numbers and that steel thing wouldn't be easy to get anymore. So yeah, no, I definitely talked myself out of doing that one. That's just a lot of work. So this steel is going just fine. All of these iron ingots I can remove because these are speed balanced. So let's get all of these sorted out. Actually, a lot of these are just fine anyways. They start being... I must have gotten halfway through doing this and then stopped at some point in the past. That's basically the only explanation for this being this way. So let's just hop around, take all the iron out of these, so that these can run properly. Alright, actually, was it just those couple in the middle? No, there are a couple more over here that are weird. Alright, I have no idea how I managed to get like half of these, but not all of them. Alright, just a couple more. And... okay, it's actually quite a lot more. I didn't remember how many of these machines there were. The answer is quite a lot, apparently. And, oh, these last ones actually are also a bit of a problem, right? So these are all 9 point something something. And then it starts being normal again back here. So these ones are also not fully correct, which just adds on to the decision to not balance that unless these all add up. So these are 9.383, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. 9.383 times 6 is 56.3, which doesn't add up with the other numbers to a whole number, so sadly doesn't work. Oh well. Not a perfect factory by any means, but it is definitely functional. So speaking of which, is it running at 100%? I can see yellow lights up there. What is going wrong? It's going to be the encased industrial beams, I guess. Which I still see occasional gaps on the belt, which means that it's almost, but not quite, at 100%. So, let's see. That's still steel pipe shortage. Yeah. That is still the problem. And it's just across all of them, or most of them at least. Looks like a lot of the ones in the middle are fine. Oh, but these ones have concrete shortages, actually. Oh, that's because I cleared these out. And apparently there's a concrete problem. Probably from when I turned them off earlier. I thought that would have cycled through by now, though. Alright, concrete. What problems are you having? They all look green, at least at the moment. And they look good. At least the first couple. Let's go over here, because the last couple would be where the problem lies. So this is 93%, but that's obviously not a problem anymore. Whatever happened to these guys has been resolved. Alright, that's fine. Fine by me. Is there something weird happening in the middle here? No, everything here looks normal. There's just some fun splitting stuff going on. Alright, so that should be fine. The concrete should be arriving properly, but I mean, that's suspicious, right? That's clearly much more than this. And it's not even close. So what's going on with that? Is the splitting wrong? So all the machines are running, so in order for this to be the case, then the splitting must not be even. So this is a full belt. How are we doing this? So we have 40 over there, 120, 200, 280, and then another one of these, which that doesn't add up at all. That doesn't even remotely begin to add up. How is this? Okay, well, this is probably just an illusion from I cleared off that belt but not this one. So let's clear off the concrete from this belt as well. Get rid of all that iron out of my inventory. So if we just take all this stuff out, we might have to actually physically take items off of the belt itself, because these are all speed balanced, right? So they're not going to be receiving more than their fair share anyways. So let's go there. Couple more stacks of this, and one more. Alright, there we go. So yeah, now we need to just grab some concrete off of the belt itself, which should eventually cause it to empty out. But this is not the most convenient way of doing this. It'd be easier actually to just pop a storage container in there. And that is left any center overflow, right? So this should drain out all the extra concrete from the belt. And theoretically, if I've done my math right, we shouldn't see any going in here now that the belt is drained. And if there is, which there clearly is, then that is concrete which isn't going over there, which is a problem. Alright, so how much is this supposed to be in total? This is 20. I guess we can count the belts. So that's 60, 120, 180, 240, 300. Alright, so this is meant to be 300, and it's clearly more than that because some of the concrete is escaping back here. Now, if we head over here and we check this splitting, is this 300? I don't think so. So we have 40 plus 80 is 120, plus 80 is 200, plus 80 is 280, plus half of 80 is 320. So yeah, this is getting 320, that's getting 280. So the way to fix that, so currently this is splitting into two, right? 40 and 40. Now, okay, what I need to do is I need to take that out and just have you directly connect up there. So this, it's fine to send 40 over that way and 40 up this way. We then split that 40 into two again. Half of it goes there. Half of it goes there. And that should have balanced those two belts out. All nice and fine. Alright, so that ought to do it. Now we should have two belts of 300 there, and no funny business with the splitting. So obviously it's going to take a while because these belts are not the fastest in the world. Can't wait until I have the next tier belts, and then things can go zoom even faster. For now, there's always going to be a bit of a delay. And the big concern, really, is how is this first one, of all things, not getting enough concrete? Is it because... Oh, I think I know why. We actually do need to take this out, I think. So I think what's happening is because the concrete is coming out in bursts, even though there's theoretically enough concrete coming out on this belt to fill this, occasionally like the next time this wants one is just in the middle of a dead zone where there isn't any concrete coming, and so then a spot on this belt gets missed. I think that's what's happening. Although I'm looking at it and I'm not seeing it happen ever. And yet this is clearly 95%, 97%. So that should fix that problem if it is happening to any significant extent. Which doesn't seem to be, at least not massively. I mean, there's not anything getting passed over here anymore. If there were, eventually it would all back up and it would be fine. But I'd rather it not back up, so the fact that this isn't happening is good. And then these ones being at 70% is probably just the numbers being outdated. Alright, so that is that. Now we have these, which are clearly still having problems. You can see yellow lights. But it's not concrete problems, it is steel pipe. Alright, so now we get to investigate the steel pipes. Alright, so we drop down here. These are the steel pipes. And if these were to be having any problems, what would they be? At least the first couple of batches look fine. As we head over towards the end of this row, we see it still looks fine. Alright, this last one is 94%. So that is something to watch out for. So this might not have enough steel ingots going on it. Although I'm looking at it, I mean everything looks green, even the last couple. But, oh, but this is the one providing over there. And that one, I can see a lot of yellow. I can see a lot of yellow, actually. Yeah, this one's barely running at all because of a lack of steel. So let's head back. This is the belt the steel is supposed to be going in on. Why is it not? So first off, how much steel is there supposed to be? So that's 60, 120, 180, 240, 300, 360, 420, 480. So this should be a full belt of steel ingots, in other words. I see some yellow flickering in here. You are not getting enough iron. You are doing something weird. Alright. So is that iron shortage just the only problem? Yeah. So this is clearly facing an iron shortage, and okay, these ones probably aren't. No, these ones look fine because they're right at the start of this run. All right, what happens right at the end of this run? Are these ones fine? Almost, but not quite. So it looks like we do have a couple of iron problems then. We're going to head back here and investigate. So this is the side that's going into those, which is where the main problem is. And this is... oh my god, if this isn't getting enough water again. Yeah, that's the problem. Again, I thought we had fixed it, but we hadn't. So now we get to stare at pipes for an hour pointlessly again. But how though? These are literally the first pipes. I'm gonna scream. Why is it like this? Why can't you just be simple and straightforward and convenient? Alright, well, the easy fix would be to just add more water in. That would be the easy fix. Let's see if it works. So let's grab a pipe over here, I guess. And let's get all the way up here. Okay, so this line is 240, right? I've done that math a couple times. So if that's 240 water, then I could just feed it separately from 2 extractors. Or separately-ish, I guess, because of the way this has to work, but... Alright, yeah, let's do that. Let's cut you off there. And bring this pipe all the way down there. And then we're going to need more walls here for it to stick on. We're also going to need to not run out of fuel and die while building it. That's going to be important. Alright, so that goes down there. Then this comes down onto that wall. And now we just keep dragging it down. And let's use the ladder. Alright, so then that keeps going down. Just get the wall all the way down. Wall the way down, you might say. Alright, now we stop by the ladder for a rest. And keep on doing this. And just a little bit more. Alright, so that is far enough down for that. Alright, so what we need to do now is get 2 water extractors in. Link them up like that. Connect power. There we go. Alright, so we do need them to be, like, theoretically linked in there. However, I don't want that to be messing with stuff. So I'm going to pop a valve on. Call that 0 so that this is actually its own separate thing. And then this has to go up the hill. And just for good measure, actually, let's get a 3rd one in. Just because it's water extracting. You're never going to accidentally run out, right? So just got to find a spot for it. Let's grab this yellow power slug, since we are currently desperately low on shards. Yoink. Alright, so then we have that in weird hotbar space. Alright, then that connects up. This can come along to there. Now we're at 360 water in this one pipe. And then we just send this up. And it's hooked into the headlift magic, so we shouldn't need pumps on it. Should just go straight up. So now we climb. And we're going to spend a good while climbing. we go. And then when the tooltip says the pipe is too long, then we're going to have to place it. There we go. Like that. And we keep going up. Alright. Wait for the tooltip to say the pipe is too long and then place it. There we go. And then it goes in there. And just a little bit more. And... alright. Just barely makes it in. Alright, so that should provide water for the iron, and it should be more than enough. We have simplified the pipe network, split this off so that it is not really connected. I mean, it's technically connected, but there's a valve set to 0, which means that, and that there's no other connections in any other way. So this 360 water should just go up there and do nothing else other than fuel those iron. So up we go, and across. And this still has some water in it, which is fine. This is showing random numbers, as it always does. Alright, I don't know how it's managed to find its way up to 600. There definitely is not 600 water attached into all this. And just confirming one more time, this is literally only connected straight down there. And to the headlift pipe, which is an illusory connection. So this should be rock solid, nothing fancy. Should just work. We have 360 water in the pipes. We need 240 of it. We have capacity for 600. There's nothing that could possibly go wrong with this. Alright, look at that. It seems to be fluctuating around 300. And right down to near 0. And then back up, of course, as it tends to do. This is doing whatever weird stuff it wants to do as usual. Meanwhile, these pipes are basically all empty. So I guess it's going to be filling up this pipe first since it's lower. And water obeys physics like that. Yeah, so that's going to be the cause of that weirdness. But it looks like there is some water in that pipe. Some of these machines are running. This is so annoying. Why can't water just be like Satisfactory water, where you just or like Factorio water, where you just plug the pipes in and it just works? That would be so incredibly nice right now. Alright, I still don't understand how these machines aren't getting enough water. They definitely should be. Is it just manifolding? Let's see. These machines over here are doing fine. Yeah, you're up to 50. You're filling up quick. And you are half full. Alright. This time, I think, surely this will solve the water problem. Like, we're not close to any problems at all. We have greatly simplified the system. It should just work. And I should probably take this fluid buffer out, to be honest. It's probably causing more harm than good. I think these things can cause sloshing. But we're just going to leave it in just to see. And maybe just put another valve past it. Just so that nothing is ever going to go back into this fluid buffer from over there. Maybe that'll help some. Alright. Well, that should be fine. And hopefully that will have fixed this. And annoyingly, we just sort of have to wait for a little bit longer to see if it actually works. Let's turn some of these off like we've done before, just to make the difference even bigger. So that should help just get these to fill up quite quicker. Get all that done. I don't know, maybe there's like a head lift problem or something. No, definitely not. Yeah, there's definitely no head lift problem. I mean, it's reached all of them, which means the head lift is enough. Alright, we're just going to wait a little bit longer for this water to fill up. Alright, so that one is full. This one is filling fast, which is a good sign. This one is filling a bit more slowly, but it is filling. And then we have these couple ones left over here, which are also going just fine. Alright, we should be all clear. So I should just turn on these ones that I deactivated temporarily. And those are on. This last one is fine as well. Alright, with that, surely that'll be enough. Please say that is enough. This fluid buffer is as full as I've seen it in a while, which is a good sign. So hopefully that's all there is to it. And these can start working, which will cause these to start working, which will cause the whole factory to start working. Obviously there's going to be a rather significant delay, just because belts need travel time, machines need production time. Especially this long Mark 1 belt. It's going to take forever once this gets fixed to get them over to the heavy modular frames. But not much you can do about that. I mean, I could run along and upgrade it all the way, but that would be wasteful and also just kind of annoying to do. Alright, I see a lot of yellow over there. I'm hoping that is just because it's outputting into machines that aren't running 100%. Yep, that's what's happening. Alright, that's good. That's fine. So then, once the encased industrial beam supply recovers, we should be fine, unless we've somehow magically broken something else by messing with the water. Alright. I think we're going to call this, at least for working on this for this stream. I'm probably going to have to come back off stream at some point, or maybe on a later stream, to fix any new problems that emerge with this. But for now, I'm sort of done wandering around looking at the same problems that haven't quite propagated through. So, we are going to return to the hub and start planning our next factory, which is probably either crystal oscillators or high-speed connectors. Let's go with crystal oscillators, because I think high-speed connectors are going to require oil, which is going to be a whole thing, whereas crystal oscillator is just going to require, well, quartz, which is a solid at least. So, is there any relevant technology in here that I need to unlock? No. Reminds me, we really need to make turbo fuel jetpacks at some point. Alright, so then we are going to need to... Actually, how do you make crystal oscillators? So it's quartz crystals, cable, and reinforced iron plates. So, quartz crystal alt recipes are interesting to me. Not sure if I'm going to use it, but I may as well pick it. Cable alt recipes, also may as well pick that. And we're just going to take all of the relevant recipes. Pure quartz crystal is by far the most likely. Let's see, what else? So we have the insulated crystal oscillator alt recipe, which we're going to have to look at. And I think that uses AI limiters, so we're going to want alt recipes for those. I have plenty of hard drives left, right? Yeah, let's put in another scan. Alright, so crystal oscillator. The insulated alt recipe uses rubber, which we could do recycled, which would be pretty easy. The AI limiters are just the two alt recipes for that. It's going to require deuterium either way. Alright. So, going down this route would require rubber, which would require oil, which we would need to add on to the factory, but we're going to need that soon anyway. And we can make very efficient factories from rubber. Then AI limiters would obviously require deuterium, as well as plastic or copper. We would go with plastic, since we're already going to be making rubber. And that's also more deuterium efficient as well. And then just quartz crystals, which are fine. Now, as far as quartz crystal efficiency, this is 10 to 1, this is... well, it's 18 to 1, so that's obviously worse there. The cable, if we do any fancy alt recipes, are also going to require rubber anyways, or some form of oil. Reinforced iron plates are just kind of a nuisance to make. Yeah, let's go with insulated crystal oscillators. So we're going to make insulated crystal oscillators. And let's tear these signs down and use the space for the new ones, and also finally clear up our notes from the heavy modular frame situation. Those notes aren't even accurate, by the way. Alright, so we need 10 crystal oscillators. So let's get some more space. I think the last time I made those notes, this hypertube cannon wasn't in here. Alright, so we have our sign, which is crystal oscillators and 10 crystal oscillators equals. So it's going to be 100 quartz crystal, 70 rubber, 10 AI limiter. Easy enough. 100 quartz crystals, 70 rubber, 10 AI limiters. All right. So then the next thing we need is 100 quartz crystal, which probably just gonna go with pure, or maybe just go with the base because it's more convenient. Doesn't require water. So if this were 50, that would be some crazy number of quartz crystals, some crazy amount of water, but not much, only like 70, which is manageable. Whereas this would require, so that would be, so the bottom recipe would be 130-ish raw quartz. The top recipe would be, I don't know, let's set it to that, 166 raw quartz. So, I mean, that's not much more, honestly. It's probably worthwhile using the water anyways, just because. Yeah, let's use the good idea and use the water. So that is going to be then, let's see, we need 100 quartz crystals, not 10. Gotta be careful of that. So it's 128.57 raw quartz, 71.43 water. So, quartz crystals is 128.53 raw. I ran a button. So this is 128.57. So 128.57 raw quartz and 71.43 water. Gotta get that 5.7 in there, it's a bit important. So then this is quartz crystals, and it's 128.57 raw quartz and 71.43 water. And that is to make 100 quartz crystals. Alright, so that is easy. I mean, that's down to base components already. This is obviously going to be easier than the heavy modular frames by a lot. So then 70 rubber is, it's going to boil down to 70 fuel. I know the ratio for the recycled rubber loop. So rubber, I just don't know how to set it up properly. 70 rubber equals 70 fuel. And then let's see. Packaged fuel. So 70 of this is going to be 35 heavy oil residue and 70 water. So packaged fuel, 70 fuel is 35 heavy oil residue, 70 water. And then the heavy oil residue is gonna be, how much? Should we need 35? So 26.25 crude oil. So 35 heavy oil residue is 26.25 crude oil, and there's going to be some polymer resin as well there, which will probably just sink for convenience's sake, although we might use some of it to make plastic for the AI limiters. Yeah, let's see how much. So this is going to be 35, so it's going to be 17.5 polymer resin plus 17.5 polymer resin. Alright, so that is fun. Then, so that is the rubber down to the base material. So then next up is the AI limiters. So AI limiters. We have plastic AI limiters probably. We need 28 plastic, which is 28 fuel. So, actually, was that the right ratios? We need 10 of them. So, AI limiter. 10 AI limiter is... Yeah, I definitely didn't set this correct. 35 plastic, 150 quick wire. 35 plastic, 150 quick wire. Also, we finished the MAM research. We should put another scan in. There we go. Keep those scanning so that we don't have to worry about doing it later. Alright, so 35 plastic is just another 35 fuel. Alright, so 35 plastic is 35 fuel. And I should make that the right thing. And I think we also have to... Why do we have two of these here? Definitely don't need two of them. Alright, but it's fine because we can actually use that. So we need this to be... no, actually... So we need to take this sign and update it because we're going to need 105 fuel, not 70. So packaged fuel, 105 is 52.5 and 105. 52.5, 105. And then 52.5, we're going to have to calculate that again. So heavy oil residue is some amount of crude oil, probably not that much. Where this one, 52.5 is 39.375. 39.375 crude oil, and I forgot to check the polymer resin. No, 52.5 is 26.25 polymer resin. 26.25 polymer resin. Alright, so that is that. Then we need to just get the quick wire, which we need 150 of, which would be 30 Caterium ingots. Do we really not have any quick wire alts? Oh, we have fused quick wire. Let's grab that. And we're probably not going to want to do that because we're just going to want to go pure Caterium. All right. So we need 150 quick wire. This would be 30 Caterium ingots. This would be less than half of the Caterium, but it would add a bunch of copper. Caterium ingots are kind of expensive, right? Even pure, it's 2 to 1, but that's still only 60 ore. Yeah, we're just gonna cut the copper out of the process. Go pure Caterium. Alright, so then we get another sign. We go over here. And say that's quick wire. So 150 quick wire is 30 Caterium ingots, which we'll just say is, because we know, is 60 Caterium ore and 60 water. All right, so that's everything except for what we're doing with the polymer resin from this, which we're just going to sink, I think. We might technically want to gather it up so that we can use it for some other project later, but not especially, to be honest. Seems like a lot of work for 26.25 polymer resin, you know? Alright, so now let's get all of this into the notes. So, 10 crystal oscillators, 100 quartz crystals, 70 rubber, 10 AI limiter. Let's just confirm real quick we didn't mess up the number of AI limiters. So this is 10, yeah, alright. We didn't do the thing we did with the encased industrial beams last time and get the number wrong. Alright, so then we need 105 fuel. And what else? 35 plastic and 150 quick wire. 35 plastic, 150 quick wire, 105 fuel, and 52.5 heavy oil residue. 52.5 heavy oil residue. And how much water is this going to be? There's 105 there, another 60 there, so 165 water there, plus 71, so like, I don't know, 200-ish. Alright, let's go back to this. So 30 Caterium ingots. 30 Caterium ingots, because that's going to be important to note. And then I guess just the raw resources. So 60 Caterium ore, 128.57 raw quartz, 128.57 raw quartz. I don't know why I capitalized that. Then it's going to be 39.375 crude oil. 39.375 crude oil. And then, let's see, the only thing to tally up is the water, so we have 60 water there. We have 105 water there. So it's going to be 165 plus 71.43 is 263.43 water. Or 236.43. 236.43 water. Alright, then that is everything, I think. Alright, that should be a nice, easy factory. And none of these are of interest, right? Nope, these are all for weird other stuff. I guess we might just like go out and put together a very quick turbo fuel plant at some point. For now though, it's 4:30. I'm not gonna get into starting a whole new factory at this exact moment. So let's just head back to do one last check to see if the heavy modular frame factory is up to speed. Fix any last bugs, and then we'll call the stream. Alright, so now go up here and alright, so far those are all green. We're gonna start with the water-related shenanigans that we were looking at previously. Ooh, the man finished. I did take a lot of recipes, so we should definitely go out hunting again soon. We're short on a number of things. I would like to just have all the hard drives we need for ages. Alright, so that looks good. Are all of these green? All of them are green. The pipes look full. Alright. Yep, everything looks good there. So now if we head over here, I see yellow. How am I seeing yellow here still? It is still a steel pipe shortage. Did I just like do the math wrong? Or like what happened here? So this is a Mark II belt. It's 120. But it's, oh, did I not? Yeah, so these need to be, that was the problem all along. We need to upgrade those. And upgrade those. And upgrade these. 1, 2, and 3. And now we should be in the clear. So that was the problem, which was causing these to be so extraordinarily bad. The water problem was actually just like mostly unrelated. It was just two different problems on the same thing, on the exact same line. That's funny. Alright, I'm pretty sure I had remembered to do that for this one, right? If we head back here. Yeah, so these are all Mark III belts in there. So that makes sense. These are fine. And now these ones will be as well. So that's another productive fix. I see a yellow. How are you yellow? Alright, it's because of output. Thank goodness for that. So yeah, that makes sense, because they were never able to output properly. They got overfull. If it had been short on water, I would have been so incredibly annoyed. It's just a relatively harmless issue there. You're also quite full. The rest of these look fine, though. Yeah, so these all look normal. Alright, that is that problem solved. The iron ingots are now definitely working. So now these should be working. And they are. Look at that. Miracle. And the belt out. Alright. I am going to just upgrade this to a Mark IV belt so that this can get all the way over there in a reasonable amount of time. So by doing this, obviously it's not changing anything really. This is still, in the long term, only going to be moving 60 a minute. But in the short term, it means that the fix will propagate down much quicker. And then this is the Mark II belt, which is now, appears to be, well, it'll be fully saturated for a bit, of course, because we're moving more in than we're putting out, but that'll solve itself soon, and it'll all be fine. Now this looks good at 100% each, although the steel pipes seem to be overfilled. So let's drag those out. And now this is going along. And this should trickle its way through pretty quick. It should be 66 something. This belt can handle 120. So it's moving almost but not quite twice as fast as it theoretically should be. Which means we're just going to have to run through and take spare in case industrial beams out of the machines at some point. Okay, and also, it's good to see that we are now syncing them. And let's print some coupons. Let's print, have 430 coupons on hand. That's quite satisfying. One might even say satisfactory. Alright, so this... The encased industrial beams were at least the biggest problem, but probably the only one as well. Okay, I see yellow here. I'm assuming that's going to be output problems. It looks like they have plenty of input. Yep, it's output problems, so we're going to have to... Now that I'm reasonably confident this is running at 100% again, I'm going to have to run through and empty out all the machines, which I'd already done once, but I'm going to have to do it again. Alright, so all of these get emptied. And we're going to have to run along and do that for all of them. And another one. So this will make sure the belts aren't ugly and gross. And it'll make sure that the machines all run properly. Although I think technically I'm supposed to start from the other side and then work up to clearing out these ones. Yeah, that's probably what you're supposed to do. theoretically, if you just clear out these ones enough times, it should work. But there we go. Alright, so now that should help resist the clogged belt syndrome, and should be just about good to go. Let's drop in here and take some of these steel pipes out. So there we go. One more out of that one. And then work forwards from these. You get to be emptied. And then I guess all these ones forwards were running anyways. Alright, well that is good. There's going to be more fiddling just doing stuff like that a bunch more times on all these machines. And probably a couple more just like minor tweaks to make sure that everything is running properly, but I think as far as like actively managing it on stream, this is probably good. We're probably finished now. And these are all saying yellow because I just tore all their stuff out, and they're gonna have to wait for a while for the concrete to show back up. But yeah, I think we're gonna call it a day here. Next stream, we're going to get working on the crystal oscillator factory, which I'm going to have to add rock quartz and crude oil to the train network, and we're going to hopefully go a bit overboard in that so that we don't have to do it for a while afterwards. And then once the crystal oscillators are in, then we want to do the high-speed connectors as well. And then once those are in, I think we might be just about ready to start on project parts, which is fantastic because next phase means new belts, which means we get to not use the stupid encased industrial beams forever. Okay, there's another MAM research. And don't really care what it is because it's going to be basically all of them available as usual. Now at some point, I think probably after the next couple of factories, I'm going to have to go out and just like spend a significant portion of a stream looking for hard drives, just filling up the library. Oh. What's that doing there? That was weird. Are we like directly above a crash site here and that just like spawned improperly because of it? That was weird. I normally aren't just sitting out like that. Normally they're in a dismantle crate or something. Who knows? Alright, so yeah, we have our plans for next time. We're going to be making Crystal Oscillator Factory. And we're making good progress. I feel like Phase 3 is by far the longest phase, at least most of the time for me, because it's also the phase in which you have to do a lot of the MAM stuff. And like, you have to turn around and automate a lot of the stuff that you've been coasting on before, because we also have automated miners to do, and SAM fluctuators, which we can do now. So yeah, we've got a couple of smaller things like those to construct, and then we will be ready to start moving on to the next phase. So yeah, that's the plan for the near future. We're also playing Factorio, so that will be what I'm doing tomorrow. And what are we doing in Factorio? We are... It's so hard to describe it. Ooh, I see some yellow, actually. Let's just go and confirm this is just output problems. Yep, just output problems. So yeah, we're going to have to In Factorio, we are... it's hard to remember, because I don't really understand like what all the various milestones are, but I think we were just getting started with oil processing in there, and you know, doing research, building a bus, all the usual stuff. So if you're interested in Factorio, make sure to check that out. Otherwise, I will see you back here on Friday for more Satisfactory. So if you haven't followed already, make sure to do so. I stream every weekday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time. And yeah, that's about it. I will see you guys then.